Hello everyone, welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is the Crypto Weekly Analysis Volume 1. Again, we're going to be looking at our previous analysis and give you some insight for what we're thinking for this up and coming week. So without further ado guys, we'll take a look at first Bitcoin. So what we looked at last week was a potential move. We discussed basically two scenarios where we were looking at an upside bullish move and what that would look like, and also I think I was discussing where I would think price could go to, and I think it's looking into the 28,000 mark. So as we can see here, I feel like I'm more confident in saying that price has the ability to drop lower. So whether this is moving still sideways or we do get a bit of a blip towards the upside, I feel like that's fine, but I do really think that price is capable to push lower into this range around the 28,000 mark, and then we could be looking at some sort of buying opportunity here, and then we could expect that rally towards the upside. So I think that let's for this week for now, any bullish momentum towards the upside could be considered a fake out towards the upside, and ideally I think that it will be a fake move to present in more people to buy in onto the move. Little do they know, I feel like because this is moving sideways now, it has the potential to drop lower once more before making that move towards the upside. So I'm going to keep an eye out for this one because I do think it has a potential to drop lower. Now, I'm not saying it's definitely going to I'm not saying it's definitely going to retrace or turn over at the 28,000 mark, because this one can actually go even deeper. But for now, I think that there's a capability or a possibility for this to continue to drop a little bit lower. So again, we're just going to have to stay patient with this. So we can see prices moving sideways here, and with this sideways channel, it's pretty. It's still moving and still dropping lower and lower. So if we extend this simply like so, we could be looking at something within this range again, so within down here, but I'm just going to keep it up for here for now. So we'll see exactly what what's in store for us, but I do believe that this should be eventually turning over towards the upside, and I do think that the rally is pending for a big up move towards the upside still. So I'm still personally bullish on this pair still, yeah, you'll see through the analysis that it will have a knock-on effect with the other coins that we're going to look at. So moving on to now, we're going to look into Ripple. So take a look into this one. So what we can see here is that slow turnover through the week. I do think now that a bullish scenario is still potential. Now, with the analysis with Bitcoin, I do think that what will happen is, that potential breakout towards the upside is going to be a fake out. So essentially what I think can happen is price, will possibly come up higher and then drop lower. And then from here, that's when we can look at those buying potentials to add on to any positions that you personally want to take. So something like this nature could be a good buying opportunity to get in onto Ripple if you haven't done so already. But I do believe that this will be the final move towards, this will be the final move before Ripple is considered cheap, in my opinion. So what I would say is, if you haven't got in at any point now, potentially this has the ability to drop even lower, and I wouldn't hesitate to not pick up any. I wouldn't hesitate to not pick up any Ripple if you haven't done so already. So this will be the perfect buying opportunity here. The reason why I say that something like this could happen, where we get a bit of a bull run and then we get more of a sell-off, this could happen in the next few weeks or so, potentially mid-June, mid-July, or end of June. So we have this whole month that we could be looking into this move playing out. But I'm not entirely too sure what's happening with the SEC law lawsuit or whatever's going on right now. Again, I'm looking at this from a very technical candlestick, technical point, and tying it in with Bitcoin as it's the dominant dominant leader. This can have a Bitcoin and the relationship with the other coins has an effect. So again, because we're potentially looking into Bitcoin to drop lower, this can have an effect on Ripple as well, where we do break a low too. So that's why I personally think we could get price to drop lower than the low that we've created already at 0.65, and then we could be looking at that buying opportunity, and that's when, you know, I personally would consider pushing up higher. So now let's take a look into another one. So we'll take a look at Cordano. So this, well, for me, I was looking at for more push lower, and we had more of a retracement. So I still think that there is a capability of price to push lower. Like I said, adding the confluence with Bitcoin together, we could expect price to drop even lower into the $1 mark. I wouldn't be surprised if we dropped even lower. To be honest, we can go even deeper into this one. But again, what we can see right now is price, you know, dropping off quite strongly here, and still prices move sideways. So, you know, we can see that there's been some sort of retaliation and a reaction, but I do think that prices has the ability to still push lower, and I'm not entirely too convinced that this is the run for the next, you know, the next bull run for this pair. So for me, essentially, I think that there's a capability of price pushing lower before we can look at, you know, potentially anticipating price moves. For price moves for higher. And like I said, it ties in with the Bitcoin thing, where we expect lower moves. So now looking into Litecoin, I believe this will be a similar situation. But yeah, what we looked at last week was a potential move lower. And then we could be looking at some of the a higher move towards the upside. So what we can see here is pretty much price making some reaction here. Now, as tying in again with the Bitcoin analysis, what we could expect here, you know, if you do want to make a quick short-term move, you know, price could do something like this, where price starts to rally up and then does whatever and then comes back down again. And I do think that's a potential likely outcome. And then we could be looking at that next, then we could be looking at for the next move, which is, you know, towards the upside. And again, like I said, it's going to tie in with the reaction and the retaliation of Bitcoin. So whenever Bitcoin has that cemented support at the bottom and it starts to make its own bull run, then we should hopefully start to see that reaction with the other pairs. So as I'm predicting that Bitcoin is dropping lower, we should anticipate, you know, most of the other coins to drop lower too, and won't be surprised if we do break, you know, this low here and even potentially go into 3,000 mark, even 2,000, or in this area. You know, we just have to wait and just stay patient with this one. And like with all coins, I do believe that this isn't the time to be investing right now. It's definitely a time of waiting, 100%. So let's take a look into Ethereum. So this one, again, I'm tying it into, so what we spoke about last week was price dropping to break this low, which it has done. We can see some divergence forming here, and we can see a bit of a retaliation in the bull run. So what we're going to anticipate now, again, with the Bitcoin analysis, is for price to potentially come into the 1,400 mark. Potentially, I'm not saying it will, but the idea is that we break this low here, and you know, we just need to wait for a change in momentum before we can obviously take price action into consideration and then trade, and, you know, watch this rally. So again, if I didn't really state this before, is that all of the coins that we've mentioned so far, I do believe that we do have the capability of pushing higher. Again, it's just about tying in the confluence with Bitcoin. Tying things in with Bitcoin and, you know, relating it to, you know, in general, how it affects the other pairs. So crypto is quite of a tricky one to understand. Again, personally, I've been watching this over for a few months or so. That's why I do believe that if you haven't noticed already, there's a lot more confluence trading here, and that's why I kind of like doing cryptos, and that's why I'm bringing it towards my channel now, to give you a bit more of an insight of what I've kind of studied over the last few months or so. So yeah, so pretty much with that being said, we are looking at potential move towards the downside still, and then a break up higher, and that could signify that huge rally for us. So the next one we are looking at is Dogecoin. So for this pair, we are looking at a similar story. I do believe that price has the ability to push lower and break this low. So if it does break this low here, it's going to be massively cheap. So if we simply look at extending some of our trend lines, so what we see here, we got our trend line just forming here. I do think that, as a response from last week, we see price just moving sideways. That has no, this to me has no sense of bullish momentum. I do think that price has the ability to push lower, and like I said, it's tying in with that relationship with Bitcoin. So we're going to see a potential break towards the lows here. Now, I'm not saying exactly a price, but if we can get into potentially the 10 cents range, if I was to say, potential, I'm going to leave it as a target, but the idea for now is just to break this low, which is at 0.21, and then we just need to wait for that shift, and then once we see that shift, hopefully this should go up higher and break all-time highs. So I'm going to put out a target here, actually, just for channel purposes, roughly, potentially looking at the 10 cents range to the 5 cent range, and we could potentially see price come here and potentially rally higher, but that's just my guess personally of where price could go. But again, we're focusing on price action here. It's not exactly about predicting the levels or where it's going to react from. It's just looking at price action, simple, keeping it easy, and nothing complicated here. So I do believe that will be all that I wanted to cover for the next few days or so. Again, I won't be doing the I won't be doing a video analysis individually unless I feel like I need to. So this will be, like I said, a weekly thing. But that will be all from us for now. We'll see exactly how crypto performs over the next few days or so. We do have a trading group that you can join. That link is in the description. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe to our channel. And we also do Forex as well, if you want to take a look into that full market analysis, which we've just posted out right now. So again, that'll be all from us. Thank you very much for listening, guys. Do appreciate your time, and we'll see you all in our next video.